In my previous life, I was drained as a blood bag and died alone in the factory dormitory. Upon seeing my corpse, my parents regretted it. After being reborn, I obtained a 10 years early awakening pill. The system said that taking this pill could make my parents wake up 10 years earlier, but I fed the pill to my baby brother in the cradle. My brother's eyes lit up, and his little nose seemed to gain wisdom. Lon May, why haven't you sent money home yet? Did you spend it on some man? My mother's scolding on the other end of the phone was deafening. Your brother still needs 100,000 yuan. And this is the first time I'm asking you for help. What kind of attitude is this? He's someone you've raised since childhood. Aren't you going to take care of him? Say something, will you? I lay in the factory dormitory, my forehead beaded with cold sweat, my chest tight and painful, feeling as if I were about to die. Mom, I feel sick. Don't you dare play dead with me. If you don't pay up today, I'll go to your factory tomorrow and let the whole place know you're a thankless bastard. Dad's impatient voice also came. Xiao Mei, are tens of thousands of dollars worth your life? Your life was given to you by me. Grandma chimed in beside her. Look. You should have listened to me back then and just strangled it. In their insults, I closed my eyes. After working continuously for 72 hours, I died suddenly in my dormitory. At noon, my coworkers discovered my body. In the afternoon, my parents came from out of town and wept bitterly in front of my coffin. They regretted it. The next second, a baby's cry suddenly rang in my ears. I found myself in a small, familiar bathroom, with a baby in my arms. I had been reborn at the age of 4. The noisy little brat in my arms was my younger brother. A golden pill is floating before me. The description beside the pill reads, have your parents take this pill, and their minds will advance 10 years, awakening sooner. I recall the sight of my parents weeping bitterly. They truly regretted it. They looked at the remaining 30,000 in my bank account and regretted not just taking me for the bride price. Now that I'm dead, they've lost everything. Such parents, even if they had realized 10 years earlier, would have only sold me to the countryside. When I was 14, my younger brother in my arms was still crying, his small hands clutching my clothes, and drooling bubbles from his mouth. I look at my younger brother, who now relies on me so heavily. Without hesitation, she shoved the pill into his mouth. At that time, the younger brother was 3 months old. He was already hungry, and suddenly something sweet entered his mouth. He stretched his neck and swallowed it down, even kicking his legs happily, but gradually, the kicking slowed down. A complex expression peculiar to intelligent beings gradually appeared on his face. He looked at me, who was holding him, and made a mumbled sound. Dada. With the intelligence of a 10-year-old, he could easily guess my relationship with him. Brother, are you hungry? Sister will take you to find something to eat. Duh. I carried him out of the room. This is my family's old house. The electric fan was creaking as it spun, and the boxy TV was playing the popular melodramatic TV series of the time. My mom was lying sideways on the sofa in her pajamas, munching on sunflower seeds. Her eyes were fixed on the TV, occasionally twitching her lips at the Mary Sue plotlines. Mom, my little brother is hungry. Mom, could you make some milk for my brother? Mom, when I called out for the third time, the woman suddenly threw the sunflower seeds in her hand right at my face. My brother and I were both affected indiscriminately. Are you calling for a soul? Mom, every single day. Go find your grandma. Wasn't she the one who kept pushing for kids? Now that they're born, that old hag doesn't care anymore. You two little debt collectors. Get out. My brother was startled but didn't cry. I didn't say a word, just carried my brother and walked out the door. Grandma is always playing cards downstairs at this time every day. I carefully carried my younger brother downstairs, step by step. My brother, frightened in my arms, had a twisted little face and clung tightly to the collar of my clothes. To a baby, these stairs are no different from a cliff, and his life was in the hands of a 4-year-old child. Fortunately, in the end, everything turned out fine, and I found the grandmother playing cards. Grandma, it's time for brother to have his milk. The grandmother, eyes closed, shuffled her mahjong tiles and suddenly slammed one down. 9 tiles. Oh, heavens, it's the 9 tiles again. She gave us a disdainful look. If you want milk, go find his real mother. I don't have any milk for him to suck. At that moment, my younger brother thought he was being clever. Believing he could evoke grandma's affection, he stared wide-eyed and cried, wah, wah, ouch, you two damn kids, get away from here. Grandma pushed me aside. I'm playing cards, don't jinx it here. I almost fell, and I pretended to comfort my crying brother. Let's go. sister will make you some milk. I carried him home again. The milk powder was hidden in the kitchen overhead cabinet. I put my younger brother on the ground and skillfully brought over 2 chairs, stacking them on top of each other. The chairs wobbled, and my brother lay on the ground staring at me, not daring to breathe. Fortunately, I managed to get the formula in the end, mixing the milk, feeding, and burping, all done in one smooth motion. After finishing his milk, my little brother's tiny body began to feel sleepy, and he drifted off into a daze. As I patted his bottom rhythmically, my mind began to wander through the memories of this chapter of life. My brother was too young to remember, but I remember it clearly. My brother was an extra birth, and a large fine was paid as soon as he was born. A grandma complained that my mother had no milk and had to pay extra for formula. My mother resented grandma for deceiving her, as she had promised to help take care of the baby and give a gold bracelet. But neither promise was fulfilled. My father went to work in the city, and the conflict between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law shifted to me and my brother. It wasn't until my brother was 5 years old that they began to act like a proper family. Now, it's better. My brother can personally experience the love they speak of. Time came when my brother was 9 months old, with the mind of an 11-year-old. He strongly resisted me helping him wash his bottom. I threw the towel to him. Then wash yourself. As if I loved serving him so much. In my previous life, I had to endure the smell of his waste for several years. I would be more than happy if he could handle it himself. My little brother grabbed the damp towel with both hands and began slowly wiping his bottom. Perhaps I had been a bit too harsh earlier. He pouted, looking somewhat aggrieved. Just as he was about to try to stand up, he suddenly slipped. Below was the hard tiled floor. I caught him in my arms. Dada, clumsy and still trying to show off. I scolded him with my words, but in my hands, I gently rinsed his back with warm water. My younger brother has been mischievous since he was a child. Even without early intellectual development, he was still a wild monkey. I always had to keep one eye on him, though he doesn't remember it. You little brat. Grandma's voice sounded at the door. What are you doing hogging the toilet? The first thing Grandma does when she gets home from playing cards is use the toilet. Ignoring both of us, she pulled down her pants and started peeing, washing my brother's bottom. Humph. Grandma's triangular eyes looked at me and my brother, a pair of money losers. After she finished peeing, she saw me still silently cleaning my brother, and for some reason, a surge of anger came over her. Dragging your feet, just like your lazy mother, using hot water in the middle of summer. All you know is how to enjoy yourselves. Don't you know how to save on gas? Saying that, Grandma picked up the water dipper and splashed a scoop of cold water toward my younger brother. Back in the old days, kids used well water to bathe. So what? They still grew up strong. The cold water was refreshing, and I quickly pulled my brother into my arms. Most of the water splashed onto me, making me shiver all over from the chill. Wah. This time, my brother really cried. Not long after, my mother decided to wean my brother. Her way of weaning was simply not buying formula, but she didn't care what he would eat afterward. She didn't care, and my grandmother certainly wouldn't either. So every day, as a young child, I had to take a rolling pin and a kitchen knife, pounding and chopping meat and vegetables in the kitchen into a paste to feed my brother. One day, my grandmother saw me busy in the kitchen, snatched my brother from my back, and carried him to the dining table. Look how clumsy you are. You have a mouth but don't know how to use it. As she spoke, she picked up a meat bun from the table, took a bite, and with her wrinkled lips moving up and down, quickly chewed the bun into a lump. She held the lump in her hand and pushed it toward her brother's mouth. Her brother struggled violently in her arms, his whole body stiffening, his little face wrinkled into 3 layers of chin, his eyes nearly bulging out. Grandma, Mom says we can't feed like this. Mom says we can't feed like this. I ran over and grabbed my grandmother's sleeve. Mom said there are germs. She's the one with germs. Grandma shouted at me and slammed that thing onto the dining table. Her husband was raised just like this. What's wrong with that? I took the chance to take my younger brother out of her arms and went to the kitchen to feed him porridge. Grandma wanted to chase after me to hit me, but just then her mahjong partner came knocking at the door. Ma's wife, come play mahjong. We're short one player. Coming. I thought I had escaped this beating, but before leaving, she pinched my thigh hard with her fingernail. Hiss. I bent over in pain, put my brother down, and lifted my pant leg to see a patch of skin had been pinched off. Thump, thump, thump. My brother, beside me, was pounding the floor tiles with his little fists in the direction Grandma had gone. His eyes Red, I could tell he was thoroughly disgusted with the old lady. At the end of the year, my father, who had been working away from home, returned. Our whole family was sitting at the dining table, waiting for him to arrive home. My younger brother was even a bit nervous. I knew what he was hoping for. My mom and grandma don't love him, only this unknown father holds a glimmer of hope. Finally, the door opened, and Dad came in, bringing a chill with him. Child, you're finally back. Grandma rushed forward crying, I've been so worried about you these past 6 months while you were away. Mom hasn't let you down. Look, your child is fine. Don't worry, Mom will take good care of the house for you. My younger brother couldn't help rolling his eyes and muttering with drool in his mouth, my precious big son, Dad has missed you so much. Dad came over, took my brother from my arms, and spun him around in the air 3 times. When you left, you were still like a little mouse, and now you've grown so big in just a few months. It seemed like a happy family, but no one paid any attention to me the whole time. Mom looked at Dad with a hint of resentment. Janya, how has your work been going this year? Why are you sending back so little money each month? Grandma slammed her chopsticks down on the table. Luvuafen, if you think it's too little, go out and earn more yourself. My son has worked hard all year and just got home, and now he has to listen to your nagging. Do you even want to have a good new year or not? I'm not nagging him. I want to say that next year, I'll go with him so we can earn an extra income. Grandma looked at Dad, thinking this might be a good idea, but Dad brushed it off, saying, who knows what next year will be like? Let's talk about it after the new year. Dad doesn't say it, but I know. It's not that he didn't earn money, but that he lost it playing cards. After all, like mother, like son, after a few rounds of drinking, Grandma and Mom also had a little. The atmosphere at the dinner table began to liven up. Dad started talking about his experiences in the big city. Mom, you have no idea how tall the buildings in the big city are. They practically pierce through the clouds. A single brick under their feet could buy us a whole house. Grandma hasn't seen much of the world. She just loves hearing her son talk about these things. It makes her feel more sophisticated. Good grandchild. In the future, take Grandma to the big city and buy Grandma a tall building too. Grandma teased her younger brother with her rough fingers, and he disgustedly avoided them. Yeah, I'm just waiting for my son to get into Tsinghua or Peking University, to bring some honor to me. You'll have to buy Dad a car, a big house, and marry a city wife, then bring our whole family to the city to enjoy a good life. Dad lifted my younger brother up to his face, his stubble scratching against the boy's soft skin. The little brother made gurgling sounds, clearly resisting. My mom noticed me eating in silence and let out a cold snort. A son is better, raising a daughter is completely useless. My dad glanced at me, probably thinking I was too young to understand. It's not useless. Do you know how much it costs to marry a wife these days? How much? Grandma was most concerned about this. Dad extended his palm. 50,000 yuan. Heavens! Grandma exclaimed, beaming at me. You little money loser are actually worth so much. I smiled at Grandma, pretending not to understand. Dida, my younger brother, furious, kicked and thrashed in Dad's arms. My mom looked at me with disdain, clearly unhappy that I was being praised. Her behavior isn't worth that much. It is worth it. I asked around. My dad said proudly, I have a coworker who does this kind of work. They can send a 10-year-old to their village, and as long as the child isn't disabled or mentally challenged, that's the price. Ouch! Suddenly, Dad cried out in pain. Why is my son biting people? There was a red tooth mark on his arm, and my younger brother leaned his entire upper body toward me. His mouth babbled, uttering the first words of his life. Sister, my younger brother has started talking. Dad has been pestering him for days, trying to get him to say daddy, but he just won't say it. He only knows how to say sister. Dad's interest quickly faded, and from then on, I was the one taking care of him every day. That day, I was building a bridge on the ground with old chopsticks when my mom suddenly shouted from the room, there's a thief in the house. Mom's footsteps quickly reached the living room. She glared around angrily, finally fixing her gaze on me. Xiao Mei, did you little brat, take my money? It wasn't me. I shook my head calmly. Dad was watching TV nearby. How much money was lost? All the change is gone, a good 70 or 80 yuan. Hearing it was so little, Dad couldn't be bothered to respond. I remember, when I was a kid, money went missing at home during the new year, and my mom suspected I took it. She beat me mercilessly and eventually threw me outside the house, in the bitter cold of winter. My hands were covered with chilblains, and the next day I came down with a high fever. It was this year that I started to recall, but I remember that the money was never found in the end. Just as I was thinking, my mother's slap came flying. I stumbled and fell directly to the ground. Sister. My younger brother crawled over and threw himself on me. Mom, take Tong Tong away. Grandma picked up my brother and carried him back into the house. The younger brother cried out in panic, but it didn't slow down Mom's punches. Hand over the money now, or I'll beat you to death. Thought you were so honest staying quiet at home all day. Turns out all your cunning is hidden here. Where did you hide the money? Seeing me holding my head, my mother yanked my hands away and pinched my face and neck hard. My father stood by indifferently, just frowning and turning up the TV volume. Soon, my grandmother returned. She wouldn't miss such a scene, she gloated. There are no thieves in our family. Who knows where she picked up such a bad habit? Mother secretly hated it in her heart, and her hands became even harsher. My body ached with a burning pain. Just then, a muffled thud suddenly echoed from the room. Bad. Tong Tong fell. Several people rushed into Grandma's room, and I followed. Clutching my arm, there lay the younger brother, crying loudly on the floor. Clutching Grandma's handbag, there's a red change purse inside. It's my mom's, my money. My mother snatched the purse from my grandmother. That felt more satisfying than discovering I had stolen money. She sneered. Haha, look at this. Whose family has a habit of stealing? You. Grandma was at a loss for words and could only turn to Dad for help. Son, your wife is insulting your mother. Lu Huifan, the money is all earned by me. My mom can spend it if she wants. Fine. You're so capable at making money. When spring comes, I'll go to the city with you to work. I'll support myself. While they were arguing, I quietly walked over and picked up my younger brother from the ground. Sister, does it hurt? My younger brother was crying so hard that his body began to tremble, asking me in broken sobs. I shook my head, feeling somewhat discouraged. Living a second life isn't as easy as one might imagine. I'm only 5 years old now, unable to carry heavy loads or handle demanding tasks. All I can do is wait until I grow up. Finally, my mother stormed out angrily, seeing me sitting on the ground comforting my younger brother. She coldly tossed 2 coins at my feet. Enough. If you had done well in the first place, this wouldn't have happened to you. I gave birth to you and raised you. What's wrong with hitting you a couple of times? Do you expect me to kneel and apologize to you? After saying that, she put on her coat and left. Mom wasn't home, so Grandma and Dad went out to play cards. At noon, I cooked a bowl of noodles for the 2 of us. After eating the noodles, I carried my younger brother to the small shop. Using the 2 coins Mom gave me, I bought 2 ballpoint pens. In the cold winter, I put the ballpoint pen into my brother's hand. Little brother, I don't need your protection. Hearing me say that, my younger brother was clearly taken aback, and then his eyes reddened again. He thought I considered him useless. Sister is really amazing. Promise me, in the future we'll study hard together and get into a big city. We'll run far away and never come back. Only then did my brother's eyes light up, and he nodded seriously, just as adorable as I remembered. Day by day passed. Gradually, my younger brother learned to speak and no longer needed me to carry him, and I also started primary school. Family members thought he had begun to remember things, and their attitude toward him started to change, but my younger brother was no longer as easily fooled as he was in the previous life. He really did develop a strong interest in learning. Just as he had promised me, when I was doing my homework, he would bring over a small stool and start writing and drawing too. These elementary school assignments were very easy for him. His family quickly noticed that he was smarter than other children. Hey, Mrs. Emma, this is incredible. Your family might produce a top scholar in the future. Because both my parents went to work in the city, we started living with our grandmother. Grandma liked to take us to where she played cards, showing off my younger brother's exceptional talent. Haha, the child I've watched grow up can't be bad. Just like Argenia, when Argenia was little, he could pick up coal balls faster than any other kid. Grandma said proudly, if he took after my daughter-in-law, it would be over. Look at this girl, just like her mother, always clumsy and dawdling. My sister is first in the class. My brother slammed the pen on the table and shouted crisply, "Ha, you believe her boasting? Grandma never cared about my studies, so she didn't know whether my grades were good or bad. She's been lying and deceiving since she was little, and she even stole your mom's money. Do you believe her? You're the one lying. It was you who stole my mom's money. I remember it clearly. You hid it in your bag, and you said it was for pocket money to play cards." Grandma didn't expect him to actually remember. Her expression turned somewhat awkward. But she remained stubborn. "What do you remember at such a young age?" My brother was about to speak again, but I patted his back. He puffed out his cheeks and swallowed the words "old thing" that were about to follow. Grandma's card-playing friend mocked. "Mrs. Emma, your granddaughter is something else, so young and already so good at winning people over. I think your grandson isn't close to you anymore. You'd better watch out, or he might end up resenting you." The old lady's heart skipped a beat. At those words, from that day on, the old lady deliberately kept my brother and me apart. I understood her intentions and chose to comply on purpose. My brother was also very obedient. When I wasn't around, he would flip through my textbooks from the previous semester. I quickly learned to recognize many characters. In the past, during dinner time, Grandma would only give us 2 yuan to buy steamed buns. Now, as soon as it's mealtime, she brings my younger brother home. In fact, she herself is quite clumsy. When she was young, she relied on her husband, and after he passed away, she relied on her son. In her entire life, she has hardly cooked a meal, and now, to win over my brother, she's actually started cooking that day. Grandma had learned a new dish from somewhere, poached sliced pork. As soon as I saw this dish, a memory in my mind was triggered. "So it's today." Grandma worked for over an hour, making the kitchen dirty and messy, barely managing to finish the dish. She hurriedly called to her younger brother, "Tong Tong, Grandma made you boiled pork slices tonight. This is a dish from a fancy restaurant. See how much Grandma loves you." As she spoke, she carried a steaming pot of boiled pork slices, swaying unsteadily toward the dining table. I calmly looked at the floor. There was a puddle of water she had just spilled. Grandma stepped right onto the water, slipped, and lost her balance. Seeing the hot soup about to spill on herself, she threw the pot without hesitation. She threw it toward her younger brother, who was reading in front of the TV. In the previous life, my brother's neck was scalded by her, leaving a large scar. In this life, my brother will hate her to the core. I originally intended to ignore it, but before I knew it, I had rushed over and pulled my brother into my arms. The scalding soup spilled onto the floor, splashing onto my calves. "Sis." My brother quickly pulled me to the bathroom to rinse with cold water. Fortunately, it was just a bit red from the heat. My brother rushed back to the living room and shouted angrily, "If you dare hurt my sister again, I'll never acknowledge you as my grandmother." The old lady was stunned for a moment, then began to sit on the ground, crying and wailing in grievance. Eventually, she stopped when she realized no one was paying attention to her. From then on, the old lady never dared to treat me poorly in front of my younger brother again, pretending at least a little warmth. A year later, our family's financial situation improved. Although Lu Huifan is not a qualified mother, she is a shrewd businesswoman. At first, both she and my dad worked on the construction site, but later she went out on her own and set up a stall outside the site, selling boxed lunches. After her business flourished, she leased another storefront and successfully became a female business owner. At that moment, my mom suddenly missed her son and immediately decided to take both of us over. Of course, the main reason for taking me there was to look after my younger brother. "Xiao Mei, come here." That evening, after the shop closed, Mom called me into the back room with a stern face. At that time, I was 8 years old, and my brother was 4. Seeing her grim expression, her younger brother quickly followed her. Mom threw him a toy, telling him to play in the corner of the room. "Xiao Mei, your dad has a woman outside." Mom dropped a bombshell right from the start. I heard it in my previous life, so it doesn't feel new to me. I still kept my head down, feeling gloomy. Mom glanced at my younger brother playing with his toy car in the corner, thinking he wouldn't understand. "If Mom and Dad get divorced, who would you choose to live with?" "I don't know," I replied dismissively. But my mother misunderstood, thinking I was torn between two difficult choices. Suddenly, she threw her arms around me and began sobbing. "Xiao Mei, my life has been so hard. Your father is a dog that can't change its habit of eating shit. If it weren't for you, I would have divorced him. Mom only has you as her daughter. You must stand by Mom's side." She glared at me, gritting her teeth. "The Xiao family values boys over girls." When they found out it was a girl, your grandmother and your father didn't even bother to look. If it weren't for Mom not allowing it, they would have strangled you to death. Ever since I gave birth to you, my back has been hurting up to this day. You are the flesh that fell from my body, my little warm coat. Only I can't bear to part with you. In my previous life, when I heard these words, my heart truly ached, as if it were being torn apart. Since childhood, everyone has told me that there are no parents in the world who do not love their children, so I believe they love me. Never thought it was just two loveless people using me. I pretended to sniffle. I can't bear to leave mom either, dad is bad, I hate him. Hearing me say that, my mother finally stopped crying and smiled. Her eyes filled with a sense of revengeful satisfaction. After my mother left, my younger brother, who was crouching in the corner playing with toys, grabbed my hand. Sister, don't fall for it, they're just using you as a pawn, really. I gave him a confused expression, like an 8-year-old child. My younger brother nodded seriously. Sis, listen to me, don't say a word about them, don't get involved in anything. Did you hear that? Seeing me dumbfounded, my brother seriously urged. Me again, oh, big sister knows. Before I could finish speaking, my younger brother ran out of the house. At dinner time, my father came back drunk. My mother started putting on a show at the dinner table, clutching her waist with a look of grievance. Oh dear, it looks like it's going to rain again in the next couple of days. My waist hurts like it's being pricked by needles. I can't sleep at night, and I still have to run my business during the day. Sigh, in my previous life, I would have stood up for my mom at this moment, only to get beaten up by my dad. My mom would end up looking satisfied, even blaming me for being disrespectful. This time, I didn't respond. Mom gave me a covert glare and deliberately picked another piece of meat for me. Xiao Mei, study hard, and we'll buy you a house later. Moving your household registration to a big city, what's wrong with you? Dad slammed the table. She only needs to finish primary school, why buy a house? Mom wanted Dad to provoke me, but I acted as if I didn't care at all. Keeping my head down and eating, seeing me like a log, my mom gave up trying to talk. Just as I was eating, suddenly Dad let out a then he suddenly started vomiting. Damn it, why is there a pile of shit in my bowl? Ha 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 ha. The younger brother suddenly clapped his hands and laughed. Mom said Dad can't change his dog habits and still eats shit, so I'm feeding Dad dog poop. Mom said Dad doesn't make money and wants to divorce you. I'll be with Mom from now on, no matter what happens to you and Grandma. Dad, who had already been drinking, vomited even more violently. Fine, Lu Huifan, you want to divorce me, and you're even inciting my son to harm me. Mom stared at her younger brother in shock. How could a 4-year-old child understand so much? Tong Tong, what nonsense are you talking about? My brother stiffened his neck and said, I'm Mom's little cotton-padded jacket. Dad cheated and slept with another woman. He doesn't want us anymore. He and Grandma are both bad people. When I grow up, I'm going to beat him to death. You still want to hit your father? Dad stepped forward and kicked my brother, knocking him to the ground. I'll teach you to sow discord here. He slapped his mother across the face. Xiao Jianya, you hit me. Woo-woo, I'll fight you to the death. I picked up my younger brother and ran out onto the road. It was the first time he had been hit by his father. I lifted my younger brother's clothes and saw a red footprint. What are you talking about? Does it hurt? Sis, I'm not in pain. I made them fight among themselves. The younger brother's face showed the pleasure of revenge. I stared at my younger brother in silence. Even though he had matured earlier than his peers, he was still just a teenager. Brother, these are adult matters. They have nothing to do with us. We just need to take care of ourselves. Okay, sis, I just can't stand them taking advantage of you and treating you badly. I patted his head. Thank you. I promise you, sis won't let herself be taken advantage of. Seeing that I was fine, my brother finally relaxed and said proudly, Sis, you know what, that poop is from Big Yellow. His poop is the smelliest. All right, go wash your hands quickly. When my younger brother was in elementary school, my parents bought a house in the city and brought my grandmother to live with us. Over the years, they have indeed put in a lot of effort to support my brother, but he has always been lukewarm toward them. Seeing this, my grandmother was afraid that my brother would drift apart from them one day. After my father went out for a drink, my grandmother called my brother into her room. Not long after, a sarcastic question came from inside. Grandma, what do you mean my sister is an outsider? My younger brother kicked the door open and looked at my mom. My grandma said my sister is an outsider, unreliable, and that from now on she'll have to rely on me to take care of her. Then Mom, you're also an outsider. So why should you be filial to my grandma? My mom was wiping the table and felt a secret satisfaction upon hearing this. Grandma's face turned sour, but she stubbornly replied, because your mother married your father, she's part of our old Xiao family, so she should be filial to me. Hey, my younger brother put his hands on his hips. Then why don't you let my aunt be filial to her mother-in-law? My grandmother was tricked by my younger brother and became furious out of embarrassment. She pointed at me and scolded, once a woman gets married, she's like water spilled on the ground. you're protecting her now, but in the future, she'll only protect her husband. Aren't you also water spilled from the Chin family? I heard from my mom that you used to take money from home to support your in-laws. On Qingming Festival, I never saw you burn one less incense stick for the Chin family. Grandma, if you're trying to drive a wedge between me and my sister, I suggest you shut up early. Whoever treats me well, I'll treat them well. Those who never cared for me a day, don't try to get close. Grandma was so angry she stomped her feet. Tong Tong, have you fed your conscience to the dogs? I raised you since you were little. How could I not have been good to you? Haha, taking me to play mahjong counts as raising me. Grandma pointed at me. Xiao Mei, I think it's you who's stirring things up behind the scenes. Don't you dare bully my sister again, or I'll never take care of you in your old age, let you starve to death. Grandma was so angry she cried, but my dad wasn't home, and my mom was too busy watching the scene to care, completely ignoring her after this incident. My grandmother never dared to drive a wedge between my brother and me again. In the blink of an eye, I turned 14 over the years. My parents only attended parent-teacher meetings for my younger brother and never paid any attention to me. They believed that allowing me to receive free compulsory education was already an immense favor to me. After learning that my younger brother had excellent academic performance, they became even more affectionate toward him. My brother and I don't get lunch at school. Since our family runs a restaurant, Mom prepares 2 packed lunches for us in the morning. Both lunches are tightly covered, and she specifically reminds us not to open them on the way, so they don't spill. Big chicken leg for you, sister. Across the playground fence, my younger brother slipped a braised chicken leg into my lunchbox, which was full of vegetarian dishes. More ribs, please. I gave him a few more back, and after a lot of back and forth, we finally started eating. Heh. They probably never imagined that I sneak out to have lunch with you every noon. My younger brother kept shoveling his food, looking smug. Doesn't your teacher say anything when you sneak out every day? Humph. My brother puffed up his chest. Tonggu is the top student in the whole school. I can't even reach the wall. The principal has to stand below and give me a boost. I couldn't help but laugh at him. Unconsciously, this little brother had grown almost as tall as me. Brother, they're not just being mean to me. Why do you have to go against them too? For justice, the younger brother shouted, but then he said seriously, Sister, do you think they really care about me? I didn't speak. Is it possible that, to them, we are all property? Keep what's valuable, throw away what's not. I believe there are parents who love their children in this world, but they certainly aren't. My younger brother smiled at me and passed me the last piece of rib. Sis, once you get into high school, they'll definitely find out your grades are better than mine. They'll definitely target you then. So you need to be on guard. I nodded seriously. My junior high school exams were over, but no one cared except my younger brother. That summer was long, and Grandma arranged for us to return to our hometown. On the way, we also spent a day at one of her relatives' homes in the countryside. This relative had a daughter, and our parents told us to call her cousin. Oh, sister-in-law, Tong Tong has grown into such a handsome young man. The relative affectionately patted my brother on the shoulder and then glanced at me standing nearby. My eyes suddenly felt a sting. Unlike in my previous life, thanks to my brother's care, I didn't suffer from malnutrition. Now I'm taller than my mother, and my looks are quite striking. This girl sure can eat, and she's grown a lot. Hearing this, my younger brother snorted and mouthed, blind as a bat. After dinner, my cousin took me to play around the village, while my brother stayed home to accompany the guests. The adults chatted and eventually the conversation turned to me. Auntie, how old is your little May? It's the 15th, and she just finished the college entrance exam. With her brain, who knows if she'll even get in, because my brother was there. My mom didn't dare say anything too harsh. Oh, so you mean if she does get in, you'd actually let her keep studying? What's the point of a girl studying so much? The more she reads, the more restless her mind gets, and she becomes harder to control. In our village, girls can be sent off to have babies at the age of 14. Look how grown-up Tong Tong is. Marrying off his sister will make it easier for him to find a wife later, won't it? Mom wanted to stop her, but it was already too late. The relative's mouth was moving as fast as a stream of beans. The younger brother suddenly stood up, startling everyone. Mom quickly tried to smooth things over. Oh, come on, it's all just idle talk. That kind of thing isn't popular in the city anymore. My younger brother stared at that relative and suddenly sneered. Mom, I'm going to go play with my sister. When my younger brother found me, I was surrounded by my cousin and a group of kids. Can't even a city kid get over a pigsty? TSK, my mom said they weren't originally from the city either, just like us. Then she's a traitor, right? Unless you climb over the pigsty, you're a traitor. Traitors have to kneel and kowtow. I stood speechless in the middle, not wanting to say another word. Haha, bullying my sister is nothing special. If you've got guts, compete with me. My brother suddenly appeared, glaring at that cousin, seeing a boy show up. The other boys weren't convinced either. Let's compete then, we'll race to flip the pigsty, then jump over the manure pit over there. Whoever comes back first wins. You lose, you have to kowtow, no problem. In the countryside, children play together regardless of gender, everyone runs together. A group of people all stood at the starting line. At the command, they all rushed out with a whoosh. My younger brother has been a wild monkey since childhood, and during his 3 years of junior high, he climbed over the high wall at least twice a day. He ran fast and agile. Some of the boys were already wise enough to know that their cousin was trying to make things difficult for us, deliberately tripping up my brother unexpectedly. The younger brother, like a little bull calf, shoved them all aside with one shoulder. Inside the pig pen, there were several large fat pigs. 2 boys lost their balance and fell headfirst onto the pigs, scaring them into loud squeals. After crossing the pig pen, a few more steps brought them to the village's dung pit. The younger brother deliberately slowed his pace to wait for his cousin's sister. As my cousin jumped, I stretched out my foot to trip her. Oh no, your daughter fell into the cesspool. My parents were chatting with relatives about how much they could sell me for. Someone came to deliver the news. The crowd hurried out and saw their cousin, half dead and covered in feces. Chin Sanhua, look at your child. A burly man approached, dragging 2 boys behind him. How can a girl be so wild? She made my 2 sons go into the pigsty. They almost got trampled to death by the pigs, and my pigsty, these brats have trampled it down. Whoever instigated this had better pay for the damage. The 2 boys were also covered in pig feces. The 3 piles of dung gathered together created a stench so foul it was unbearable. At that moment, my cousin could only cry. She hadn't seen who tripped her, so she couldn't report it. In the end, she got a beating from her own mother and had to pay 100 yuan to the pig farmer for damaging the pig pen. Because of this incident, we couldn't stay at home any longer, so we returned to our hometown the same day. When the junior high school entrance exam results came out, my parents were completely stunned. They never expected that their daughter, whom they had neglected for over a decade, would be admitted to the best high school in the big city with the top score. They looked at me as if I were a stranger, with shock, doubt, and wariness. At that moment, the relatives' words echoed in their hearts again. Too much reading makes the mind restless and hard to control. One night, I overheard them whispering in Grandma's small room. Jianya, why is this girl so deep in thought? It's really scary. We can't let her read these books anymore. Who knows what twisted ideas she'll come up with if she keeps reading. Yes, just look at Tong Tong. She's been led astray by her. In my previous life, they secretly went to the school and cancelled my student registration, forcing me to choose between working and getting married. From the age of 16, I've been working hard until I was 24. This time, they want to try the same old trick again, but clearly, they know next to nothing about the education system. First in the city, how could the school let me go? When they came back with the 20,000 yuan prize money from the school, they finally smiled at me for the first time. Xiaomei, study hard, and tell mom what you want to eat. Oh my, the ancestors have shown their blessings. Our family has produced 2 literary stars. Daughter, even if I have to push through the ground with my head, I'll support you through college. On the surface, I acted grateful and indebted, but deep down, I remained on guard, because I knew they wouldn't let me fly away. Even if I were a phoenix, I'd have to be one with broken wings. Once they fly away, they no longer belong to them, and they can no longer exploit me. For 3 years of high school, I never dared to waste a single moment. Reborn in this life didn't bring me much help in studies, but my mindset was definitely different. I moved forward without hesitation, with a goal that was extremely clear. I want to fly away, fly far, fly to places they can't even imagine. My younger brother thought the same way as me, and the 2 of us were like competing, holding our breath. He even skipped a grade after the first year of junior high, directly narrowing the gap between us. When I was in my senior year of high school, he was admitted to my high school again, ranking first in the entire school. Sis, I finally caught up with you. Good luck on the college entrance exam. Before filling out the college application, Dad took the whole family out for a meal. Sweetie, last time we had dinner with Uncle Wang, He said the city university here is really good. After graduation, job opportunities are guaranteed. He suggested you apply to this school. Is he out of his mind? My brother said irritably. You can get into that school with just over 300 points. Does he even know how many points my sister can score? I'm doing it for Xiaomei's own good, and Mom also thinks it makes sense. At that moment, her mother already had white hair at her temples. A girl like her, if she goes far away, how can her parents not worry? Yes, staying at home is so much better. When you get married, the restaurant will be yours and your husband's to run. In the old days, no family would have treated their daughter this well. Grandma was so moved by her own pie-in-the-sky talk that she almost cried. Seeing that I wasn't speaking, my mother grew a bit anxious. Xiaomei, I've never liked your quiet, reserved personality since you were little. Where did you apply? Just tell us. Can't you even talk to your family? I've already filled it out. Capital Medical University. I want to be a doctor. I put down my chopsticks, my tone indifferent for a moment. The entire room fell silent. In the following days, they never brought up the topic of college applications again, but I knew that beneath this quiet, there was certainly no peace. Sure enough, 2 days later, the whole family returned from outside, their faces beaming with joy. I happened to be away that day, and only my younger brother was at home. What have you all been up to? My brother frowned, annoyed by their cheerful demeanor. I'm going online, Dad said with a hint of pride. Grandma even winked and smiled at Mom. Tong Tong, your dad, and I only want what's best for you. Mom sat down next to my brother, putting on a gentle, motherly expression. You're a boy, with big ambitions ahead. We can't keep you tied down at home. With your sister taking care of things here, you can focus on building your career outside without worry. Exactly. Grandma chimed in. You'll need a lot of money for college in the future. If your sister runs off and spends it all first, what are we supposed to do? My brother suddenly jumped up. It wasn't the first time he'd lost his temper at home, but this was the first time he'd gone this crazy. He flipped the coffee table over and screamed at them hoarsely. Tell me, what did you do? How dare you? I'm your father, how dare you yell at me? Dad immediately tried to subdue his younger brother, but the brother, already 185 meters tall, pushed him to the ground with just one hand, sitting on the floor. Dad was furious, pointing at his younger brother. He yelled, Fine, go ahead and shout. Your sister's college application choices have already been changed. We used up the last chance, and she can't change them back now. Why are you doing this to her? The younger brother shouted, tears welling up in his eyes. He wanted to beat them all up, but hitting them wouldn't solve anything. After taking a deep breath to calm down, he pulled out his phone. Mom and Grandma hurried over to comfort her. The two of them were stunned. Tong Tong, what are you doing? My younger brother strode toward the outside. I'm going to call the police. At the police station, my younger brother had a bruised corner of his mouth, but he sat upright. My distraught mother and grandmother sat on the ground, throwing a tantrum. My father, who had just hit my brother, had already been handcuffed by the police. Classmate, according to current laws, parents cannot be sentenced for privately modifying their children's college entrance exam choices. A police officer walked out with a grim expression, looking at the bizarre parents lying haphazardly on the ground, his heart filled with intense resentment. But there's no other way. How could this be? I not only couldn't help my sister, but I also failed to make them pay the price. My brother's tears immediately flowed out, and his whole demeanor became dejected. Haha, look, even the country agrees with what we're doing. Parents gave birth to you and raised you, so you must listen to them for the rest of your life. This is gratitude. Parents are greater than heaven. Dad was wearing handcuffs, his face full of pride. My brother was so angry that his hands were trembling. He took out his phone and finally dialed my number, but my phone suddenly rang at the entrance of the police station. I appeared holding a document, looking coldly at my parents. No one agreed to let you do this. Evil done in the name of love is the most shameless and despicable evil. SS. My brother quickly ran over. I interrupted what he was about to say. I knew they would definitely do something. I've been watching them these past few days. After I found out they were going to change my application, I went to the education bureau. Brother, thank you for helping me call the police. You saved me some time. Uncle officer, please give me the police report. I need to take it to the education bureau to change my college application. Upon hearing that it was still possible to make changes, the officer immediately went to handle it. No, you can't go to a university in another city. If you dare to go, I won't give you a single cent. They were shouting behind me. I grabbed the documents, took my brother by the hand, and rushed out of the police station, like two birds breaking free from their cage, soaring into the sky. My name is Xiao Jintong, and my sister's name is Xiao Xiaomei. According to my sister, back then, due to the policy, she took up a quota, so they hoped she would pass away at a young age, but later, my parents did the math and said they could use that money to get me a wife. She risked being punished to have me, but my whole family scolded her for talking nonsense. I am a golden child, a boy with abundant wealth and blessings. I don't remember much from before I was 5. But I've heard that my older sister has never treated me well since I was little. She has a terrible character. She even blamed me for stealing money, and once nearly scalded me with hot soup, leaving a large scar. My sister was quiet and reserved at home since childhood. The only time she spoke loudly was at the dinner table, when she accused our father. After that, Dad hit her. I didn't understand. Why would she push for our parents' divorce when they clearly loved each other so much? My sister didn't get into high school and started working at a factory after junior high, according to my parents. She rarely sends money home and has been involved in inappropriate relationships over there. I really wanted to call and talk to her about it. But before I could even address the issue, I fell ill. The doctors said it's a brain tumor located on the brainstem. The surgery costs are extremely high, and the chances of success are almost zero. My parents haven't come to see me in a long time. Grandma said they went to the reproductive medicine department. They said the technology is mature now. For 100,000 yuan, you can have several at once. I didn't quite understand. 2 years ago, didn't Dad lose all the family savings playing cards? Where did the 100,000 yuan come from? I was thinking in a daze until I completely closed my eyes. I slowly opened my eyes again. I saw the doctor wearing a sterile mask in front of me. Her eyes were very beautiful, very familiar. Sis, my voice was still a bit weak. The surgery was successful. The brain tumor has been completely removed. Now you need to rest well. I forced a smile. With the world's top neurosurgeon operating personally, of course it would succeed. Sister, I just had a dream. Yeah, I dreamed I was a silly kid, not remembering how good you were to me, or how bad they were. I kept defending them, like an idiot. In the dream, I also had a brain tumor, but the me in the dream didn't have a miraculous older sister. For a moment, I saw my sister's eyes widen in surprise, but then they curved into a smile. That must have been a terrible nightmare, but as long as you're alive, nightmares always end. After hearing this story, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your ideas in the comments section. We look forward to hearing from you.